Well, folks, turns out that Mitch McConnell's health problems might be even worse than we had already discovered they were. Obviously, last month, Mitch McConnell had the freeze-up press conference where he just didn't speak, didn't move, and they finally had to kind of usher him away. And later in that afternoon, of course, he said, "No, I'm fine, they sandbagged me," he said. But then, after that, reports came out telling us that Mitch McConnell has actually taken far more falls this year, including one described as falling flat on his face, than we had previously known. And now a new report from Politico tells us that Republicans in the Senate are, of course, terrified over how poor his health actually is. So even though we didn't know about the falls that we do know about now, the Republicans that work with him every day are now saying it's even worse than you think. And one of the specific issues they point to is the fact that Mitch McConnell, according to these Republicans, is apparently losing his hearing. They specifically said, we'll be at a lunch, everybody's sitting around, we're all having these conversations, McConnell's in the middle, and he has no idea what anybody's talking about. He's aloof, he doesn't hear anything even when you try to address him. He's just sitting there. So that could be a hearing issue. And if that is a hearing issue, okay, you can get the implants, you can, learn American Sign Language if you want. Like, losing your hearing does not in any way disqualify you from serving in the Senate, nor does it really hinder you that much. I mean, that's a relatively minor thing compared to the other health issues with McConnell, but that's the one issue that they're pointing at, to the point where one Republican says that they've spoken to his staff and suggested that he get, hearing aids or implants to hear better. But here's the thing. If Mitch McConnell was sitting around in a group of people, they're talking to him, he sees them all talking, and then he sees them looking at him and he doesn't respond, or he doesn't say, "I'm sorry," that to me doesn't signal a hearing issue, right? That kind of seems indicative more of a cognitive issue. Like, he doesn't understand what's going on. And if that's the case, then obviously that's a serious thing. Losing his hearing, again, that's not disqualifying by any stretch of the imagination. But if he cognitively cannot register that people are talking to him, then we've got serious problems ahead. I think the overall takeaway from all these stories about Mitch McConnell's health, however, is actually far more serious than that. This will be Mitch McConnell's last term in the Senate. I think we're all understanding that this is the end. The question is, can he serve out the rest of his term? Because I don't think he can. I don't think he will. I don't think he'll make it that far. Then the question becomes, what happens to Republicans in the Senate when McConnell is gone? McConnell has been in that Senate seat since I was 2 years old. He is the leader of those Republicans. He keeps them in line even when they don't want to be in line. He has always somehow managed to do it. He is the architect of the right-wing takeover of the court system. He's the tax cut guy. He's the deregulation guy. He's the guy who just fended off Rick Scott's attempt to overthrow him to the point where Scott got kicked off his committees by Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell, as evil as he is still the grown-up in the room in that Senate. And once he's gone, it creates this vacuum. And somebody is going to sneak in there and take that power, and we could be looking at somebody far more extreme than Mitch McConnell. Not saying I want Mitch McConnell to stay there by any stretch, but whenever these Republicans, move on, lose their seat, they're typically replaced by somebody far worse than what came before them. And that is the scary part. That's what we're looking at with Mitch McConnell. And it's a reality that we may actually have to be dealing with a lot sooner than we had thought. Ring of Fire has fresh content 7 days a week, so if you want to be reminded about it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell to be notified every time a new video goes up.